Hey everybody, it's Jordan with PDQ.com. Today we're talking about WMI scanners, kind of when to use them in PowerShell or which is better. I kind of started with, we got a question of when is it appropriate to use the WMI scanner, when is it appropriate to use PowerShell? And because they asked me, I of course said, use PowerShell. But apparently I have to show my work. So today we're going to kind of go into some of the WMI scanners we have and how you might be able to enhance them if you use the PowerShell scanner instead. Okay, all right, so I guess the first thing we'll look at is if we're just grabbing BIOS information. We'll see if I remember this one. I don't think I wrote it down. I'm going to do a new scanner, WMI. I suppose I should name it. All right, so the query, I don't know exactly where the BIOS information is, so we actually have this button here with the WMI scanner for launch WMI Explorer. There's a window I didn't size.
Busted. Thanks.
I was just boasting about how I sized all of the windows. All right, almost everything is going to be in, not everything, but SymV2 is going to be a common one. Whether it's like in our scanner, we just assume SymV2 to start unless you specify different, and PowerShell treats it the same way. I have to double click or it's not going to actually ever fill that out. So this one is, I believe, Win32_BIOS. I was acting like I didn't know, but I did. And right here it says the query, let me not have that pop up, select star from Win32BIOS. This is basically just saying grab everything from this entry, which you can see what's in there if you double click on it, but that's not so necessary. We just need the query itself. Well, that.
Oh man, I'm going to have to disagree. I have to run those. I want to see how fast they run, and I want to see if there's data that's good. But then again,
well, so there, and we do have some examples where we're grabbing specific information out of it, but in this one where we're just grabbing the BIOS,
I guess that's true.
We're just doing a select star, so what's in there, if it's more than you want, you can go through and trim that up. So we've got that query copied. We're going to come in here and just in there. So we already have by default the SymV2, the Win32 is the BIOS, and we'll save that one, assign it to a scanner. I'll name it the exact same thing. The profile is the scanner. All right, and this was just kind of a good example of it doesn't really matter PowerShell or WMI. It's grabbing data, but you're not doing anything with the data. Where PowerShell really starts to shine through is if you're grabbing stuff and you find yourself needing to manipulate the data after you get it in there. We'll have lots of examples on that as we go through. You can see invalid namespace from a failed test run on our dry run there.
Have you noticed, do you see any performance advantages to running it in PowerShell versus just a WMI scanner?
It seems, from at least what I've tested, I don't have a whole bunch, like thousands of machines tested on, so it's a smaller thing, but it seems pretty similar to me. I don't see a big gain or loss on either side. I don't know if Kobe's noticed anything with that, or...
I haven't done any comparison tests on the performance, but I think they should be pretty similar.
Yeah, so I mean, without any test, it feels the same, and my feelings count the same as facts. All right, so we come in here, we run the BIOS one, and it has just a bunch of information you can see in there. And like I said, if you're building the collection report from that, you can use that table for the thing. It's all right there. You're not manipulating, you're not changing anything. If you have that as a scanner, go ahead and keep it.
Seems pretty straightforward, yeah.
Yeah, that one's just kind of if you're just grabbing data, I don't see a difference between PowerShell or WMI scanner, depending on, like, if you already have the WMI, run with it. I would always do PowerShell because I tend to lean towards that one. All right, but okay, so we'll do another example. I have this one pre-built with the BIOS. We'll scan profiles, and this one is basically getting DNS hosts in the order that it looks at them. So come in here, it's the same SymV2, but we're selecting only the network adapter configuration where the IP enabled is true. So we added a where statement, everything in there. And this will go through and it will grab the data, but it will put all of the DNS into one entry. And you can then go through and parse that out. But if you come in and you run that one in PowerShell, let's see, get sim instance. I believe when I was first writing these, I was using Get-WMI query, which is the old method, which I think kind of sums me up pretty well.
Old school, is that what you're saying?
Old habits die hard.
The wrong way.
It's no wonder you're on PowerShell at all, really. It is a wonder.
If it wasn't for taking over Exchange, I probably wouldn't have. It's mandatory for Exchange.
Still be using CMD.
No, I didn't even use C&D. I just did everything manually.
You wanted a GUI?
All right, and so what we're doing is, there's no space there. We're kind of doing the same thing. We're setting up, we're grabbing the class name. I'm typing it instead of copying it because apparently I believe in myself. You know what? I'll copy this one. And the same thing we're doing if IPEnabled equals true.
Let's be real, man. Under pressure, nobody can type.
Yeah, we're going to go with pressure causes it. With me.
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
Whatever makes you feel good, Lex. Really. No.
I got to have an excuse. I mean, it's not like I've been not typing correctly for years. Or has it?
Not exclude, expand. Okay, so this one we're doing the same thing as the other one, only when we're doing select, instead of just selecting it and having it give you one result, this one we're doing select expand, and it's going to expand that out, and you'll get actually each DNS will still be a row of the primary one on down, but each one will be its own row, so you can, without having to break it up, kind of have a better filter, and we can kind of showcase that one. It doesn't really, I believe our VMs, we only have the one DNS host, so it's still only going to show one, but trust me, if you have multiple DNS hosts, it'll list them down properly.
I love the look you get in your eye every time you say trust me.
Trust me. This time for reals.
For reals?
The Jordan who cried, trust me.
Trust me. How many times are you going to lie to us? So this one we're going to do PowerShell DNS. We're going to add a PowerShell scanner.
Do you find it's easier just to build the queries in your, the ISE or the PowerShell,
So the best practice, and I say this all the time, but I never follow through live, is to write it in the script editor and save the files at PS1 and then just point to the file instead of posting in the script. That's probably a preferred method to do it, and that way you're just copying in there. I say that every time in an example, I'm copying it in the script block.
You got to be able to show it, though, yeah?
Oh, yeah, and the problem with showing it, as we've seen with me many times, is it doesn't always go well. But I'm gonna scan that one with the DNS. While it runs, do we have any questions or anything? Or
Dear Jordan, is the PowerShell scanner built into PDQ Inventory? Sincerely, Dominic M.
Absolutely. If you have the latest release, I can't remember how long ago release put it in there, but at the latest release it will be in there by default. And we do have a GitHub repository with a lot of scripts or scanners you can import in there to give you a really good start.
The thing I love about the GitHub is there's so many great examples that I can work from and expand on.
There's a lot of
I'm a plagiarizer, man.
a lot of them are written by Colby, so you know it's good.
So you know it's good.
All right, as you can see here, and this was example I was telling you where we have the one DNS host, so just put it in there as the string. But if we had multiple, it would have each on its own row, where with the WMI, it's all within one column. It makes it just a little bit less ideal to work with. All right, I guess go to my sheet here. So another scanner, and all these scanners are from, when we first came out with this, Brig put together a blog of examples of WMI scanners that can grab high value. So I'm just kind of going through and going over those ones. This one will basically scan your disk partition in WMI. I should already have that one built. We're going to run that one. Which, I mean, this is good information. It comes back and it will let you know what your partition style is. But with WMI, it doesn't give you a word result. It gives you a 0, 1, or 2, with 0 being unknown. I can actually look at it. 1 is MBR and 2 is GPT. Which, knowing that is nice, but it's not really giving you what you want. So if we come in here, we'll kind of show that one back to the WMI scanners. You can see here partition style is 2, which we know, and we have serial number which we're grabbing in there. We know from looking at the list that's GPT, but it's not always best for, and this is where PowerShell comes in. You have a couple of options. You can either say, if partition style equals 2, then set a variable to GPT and you get the result. Or, and this is why PowerShell is super awesome, if this is something you're looking for common, there's just a command in PowerShell, just get-disk, he says as he looks to make sure you still got it. Yeah, get disk. And that will return the actual result for you on there without having to do any conversion. So it's just kind of a quick way to, instead of having a random number you can assign it before it gets into there, so you have all the usable data.
So it's basically, I mean, you get usable data. It's easier to do reports to give to people who don't know what 0, 1, and 2 mean at this point. So
Yeah, I mean, when I first looked it up, I didn't know. I actually did a Google search on what that value meant and to get those answers. We're going to come to the DNS, and we're just going to keep reusing this one instead of making new PowerShell scanners, because then I have to delete less at the end.
I like how you said everything was centered, but it's not.
I'm opening more windows. Is this one not centered?
Oh, watch.
Okay.
Look at that. See?
Oh,
Yeah.
that's so close.
No, you weren't.
had that discussion
There we go.
about
There you
raising
go.
the bar this morning. Yeah, right.
Well, here we
So
go.
I did get like the preference windows and the WMI scanner, but apparently not the query builder for WMI or the PowerShell scanner.
Just the rest.
Well, to be fair, I said I assumed I got them all, but I'm sure I'm wrong. So
Oh,
really, you're just proving me right here.
You just, you let yourself have an out.
Is that like saying, I don't mean to offend, and then you can say whatever the crap you want? Is it the same thing?
I set the bar so low for me that really you can't hold anything I say as, well, he promised.
Hey,
Unless
what are you
I'm
gonna,
wrong.
What are you going to do? I'm Jordan. Hey.
This is the case unless I'm wrong.
I'm wrong a lot. All right, so we're going to come up to the PowerShell, and you can see now the DNS host gives you the PowerShell style. It's just easier to use on that one. All right, let's see what next. We're going to have a virtualization example. So if we open our scan profiles, which I keep closing for some reason, we have virtualization, which this one is 2 different scanners. It's 2 WMI queries. The first one basically is, can you host virtual? And the second one is, are you virtual? Naming it can you is and is you is virtual is not helping. That is how you don't
Can you
name
is,
things.
or is you is, my baby?
The
I'm waiting
third
for you to
one
start
is
singing, man.
the third one is. Can you center that?
Oh, can I?
Can you say that?
I sense a recurring theme here.
Keep going.
Keep going?
You see that on the screen?
I do now. There we go. Look at that.
I think you should sing that next time, JJ. Can you center it?
Next time on the pre-show, I'm just going to have JJ watch me open up everything during the pre-show.
When I'm back here in about 3 weeks.
Oh, in 3 weeks, yeah.
I'll do that.
You know, I'm just going to do a really good
Special
job for
treat.
Jake because I like Jake a lot.
Do you like Jake better than JJ?
We all do. I understand.
Yeah. So this one is going to grab all your information, but it's going to put in 2 separate scanners. So if we, or 2 different tables, I'm sorry, and the results, because it's 2 separate scanners, you can't grab both of them. This one kind of really shows where PowerShell can really start to shine here. WMI virtualization. So it has the data, but there's a table that says basically, is it a virtual machine? And there's another table that says, can it host virtual machines? Instead of all being all in one. Well, that one ran pretty quick if I ran it.
So is it possible to be a virtual machine that can host a virtual machine?
You know, I don't know enough about virtualization. I'm going to assume no. It seems like a rabbit hole you don't want to go down.
I'm pretty sure that is actually possible.
Oh.
Is that like Inception?
I was going to say,
Kinda.
yeah.
But the recursion part.
Yeah, so this one we have basically the hypervisor is present, so this one is a virtual machine, but we have to go to a different table. Yeah, I can keep the same underline. I don't have to remove it. But it cannot host virtualization. So if you're creating a collection, you'd have to call 2 tables on this one, where with PowerShell, and this one instead of typing out, I pre-wrote this one. And I got in the weeds on this one, because the machine I was testing had 2 cores. So basically, can you host virtualization would come back with, in my case, 2 trues, because each core could. And so I was trying to find a way, and I built out a way, I think when I sent it over to Colby, it was working, where it would, within the object you're creating, it'd say, is it virtual? And then it would have basically a for each on for each core. And then it was not looking great. I sent it over to Colby, and Colby's like, you know, if one core can host, another one can't, you probably have an issue with the machine anyway. So he fixed it for me. He did it smart, where it comes in a test, and if there is a difference on if it can host virtualization, it'll just throw an error, say something's wrong. One core can, you know, I guess I can, something's wrong, inconsistent virtualization support among CPUs. That's kind of, if it's an all or nothing in my mind, you want all those to do the same thing. All right, and then it comes back in the end here where we're doing the same thing. Is it a VM? It builds that into a custom object, and the other one, can it host a VM?
Now, when you ran that, did you actually find a machine that had one core that could and one that couldn't?
No.
Okay.
No, which is, if I had, I probably would have had the mindset of like, that seems wrong.
Yeah.
But instead it was uniform, so I was just trying to put all the information in there. It was...
Jordan,
Yes.
I like your existential variable naming convention.
Am I and can I?
Am I?
Can I? Yeah. So in this one, I guess we can go through and run this one. We'll build the scanner. It's just going to give you all that information on a single table. So if you're doing the collection based on that, you don't have to go and find everything. It just makes it a bit more centralized. While I'm building the scanner, do we have any other questions?
Yo, Jordan, can you like manipulate BIOS settings with PowerShell? You know, like turning on Wake-On-Lan? Sincerely, Andrew Dice S.
Oh,
I'm starting to think that wasn't actually Andrew Dice.
No, it was Italian Kelly.
it was.
Could you just get the answer to my question?
So for that one, especially within WMI, I don't think you can. It's more of a grab the information. I don't think there's changing. As far as something within PowerShell that would let you change it, I'm sure there's based on manufacturer. Something like I'm sure Dell has their own tool set that will let you do that with PowerShell. It's nothing I'm familiar with. I can't really promise that one, but for WMI, it's mostly just a query. You don't really change states with that one.
PowerShell is a scripting language, so if there's like an executable that you can call to do that, like a del command and update, then you can just call that and do whatever you want.
Yeah, so it comes down to probably per manufacturer, you'll get varying results based on how much they have built that out. All right, and then we're running that one with PowerShell. We have it in there. Hopefully my copy and pasting skills are on point today.
I've seen them. They're impressive.
All right, we're back to PowerShell scanners. Yeah, so we can see here, because it is a true-false statement, it's is it a VM? Yes, it cannot host. It shows up with the check mark there, but it's basically it's a true-false statement. All right, trying to think of another good example we can go over on this one. I guess we're messing with antivirus.
Ooh, AV, man.
Yeah.
Always so much information there. It's so easy for that stuff to get out of date.
Yeah, so let's. I guess we'll first show the WMI one on that, or maybe I already have a WMI built. That would be optimal timing right there.
Whoa, time out. Prepping for the show? What?
I don't have one for this. All right, so new, and we'll do WMI. What I said antivirus, right? That's what we're working on. All caps, because I'm very angry about it. All right, so looking through, this one is not SimV2. And this is kind of one thing I didn't showcase in PowerShell, which I guess we can go over real quick. If it is SimV2, it assumes that it's SimV2. If not, you have to do namespace. And you want to specify everything root / all the way through to the one you want, just to kind of point it at that one. SimV2, you can leave namespace blank. I realized I forgot to mention that one with the previous one. That's pretty useful information for the PowerShell one. All right, so I'm actually going to look over where that one came from. It's Security Center 2. That's the first place I would have looked.
Isn't it obvious?
Like, well, it's obviously not going to be in SimV2.
Almost type 3.
Type 3. What did I say? Antivirus. All right, and it's actually a pretty simple query of basically, I guess we'll go through and find it, but within that one, the class name is just antivirus product for that namespace. So we come in here, we're going to reconnect. I opened up a second one. I'm already connected and sized for this window. So Security Center 2, we'll double click on that one, and antivirus product. If we pull that one in there, and you can see there, this is some of the information that it has on the scanner. So we're just going to grab that query, except for we only want the antivirus product. Select star from antivirus product. All right, and we'll go through and run this one. And what I did find out when looking this one up on accident is it doesn't seem to exist for servers. So this is for basically your desktops, your Windows machines. So we can't use Abbott as I have been using. We'll try CrocUbot. We're going to scan antivirus. I think this one should go pretty quick. It's not really diving deep in there. All right, and so this is going to come up same information we saw in the scanner, but not all of it is always as readable as you would like it. So we have things like the product state is 397584.
That means a lot to me.
Yeah, and the product state, that is actually what's telling you whether it is enabled and whether it is up to date.
It's a good state to be in.
Yeah, yeah. So whether this is up to date and enabled, I don't know.
State of denial.
They couldn't have done like flags, 0 through N.
Perhaps, but the problem is each antivirus seems to have their own.
Yeah.
So like CB Defense has a different set than, although CB Defense seems to be the same as your AVG. That's not a guarantee. That's just something that I think I noticed. And then yes, these have their own. So this is where PowerShell comes in. And we can really start changing it. So we have the same query right there, and then for each, because in the case of my example, I actually had 2 antivirus installed. Luckily, based on the state, only one was enabled, so that's good. If you have 2 antivirus enabled, that's probably a bigger issue for you. And then this is just from research online for various ones. I found different states where basically 397568, if it is Windows Defender, is enabled up to date. So it comes into basically each one, it grabs the name. And so if it's Windows Defender, it has a bunch of if statements for, like in this case, it has 3 that we know for disabled up to date, enabled out of date, or enabled up to date. And then I put in a 4th of state is currently unknown. This is so just because I don't have all of them for every antivirus. If it's in your environment, you can test this, get all the results you want, and you can build your own query. And then did the same thing for the Microsoft Security Essentials. And then I threw in CB Defense as well. And so at the end, we keep the app display name that we grabbed, and then we throw in the state that we built. So it goes through, it looks through that number based on the name of it, and it will actually, you convert that, and so you, instead of getting that number, you're getting actual usable information. We're gonna build that one real quick and test it.
I want to see you type it.
You want me to see me type that one?
Yeah.
I'm not sure JJ would be a big fan of that one.
Yeah, we got 6 minutes.
6 minutes? Yeah, type fast.
We'll title the webcast Watch Jordan Type. See how many people show up.
More than they would for Lex.
Ain't that the truth?
PS antivirus. So this is PS is PostScript antivirus. All right, this one's a PowerShell.
Watch Jordan type.
It's exciting.
I'm telling you,
It
just
is
being on
exciting.
camera makes your typing skills like 50% worse than they are normally.
So I was always terrible at typing, but adding a script editor where I can tab to complete commands really hasn't helped.
No.
I mean, it has helped the end results.
It's helped me be more efficient, but I can't type any better.
There's fewer errors.
All right, so we're going to come in on same machine, run that one. I named it right. Yes, I did. Okay. And so this one should grab the same information, only instead of grabbing everything, we're grabbing basically this is the name of it, and then it should give me a more readable state. Come in here to not Nix, PowerShell. Yep, so we got, I'm using Windows Defender, and it is enabled, but out of date. Uh-oh.
The shame.
Uh-oh.
You hit state 387, etc.
Oh, man.
I hit
You
state-
must be at state 387. It's,
Let's see, Windows Defender enabled out of date 397584.
That was close.
Clearly.
I can't believe you got there.
All right, so this one I do have a for each for, and this one's just assuming if you have antivirus, you probably know what you're coming in for. Another example that can work, I talked it over with Kobe, we're kind of, man, either way. You could just do a switch statement. So you just have switch and then for each number, you can go in there. So it's basically if you had 393472, it'd be curly brace, and then you can set the variable in there. Go through for each number you can think of. You don't have to worry about specifying the name in this case because we're grabbing it with the initial WMI query. And then just make sure at the end of the switch you have a defaults where if it doesn't find any of those, you can still have a variable that says we're not sure what this one is, and you can look more into it. All right, do we have any other questions? All right.
Dear Jordan, can we set inventory to scan for last user logged on and display that similarly to current users? With users moving around in and out Corona style, it would be nice to know who was on a PC last. Sincerely, Dougie Fresh, K.
So, see, last logged on is probably going to be stored in... Isn't this one we have in the GitHub? Or is that for...
Yes, I believe it is.
Okay. It's a good chance to showcase the GitHub. Yeah. So options, we're going to not do that. We're going to open scan profiles and import. PowerShell scanners, not worried about host files. So what are we looking for? User last logged on.
I like the way they named that.
Yeah, makes it very simple.
It's very clear.
So we're
I'm
going
not sure, what is that pulling again? I was just saying, I'm not sure, what's that pulling again?
All right, so and this one is for the GitHub. I don't know if we have shared the link for that one, but the way we have that is basically we just have the GitHub out there. We went through, we did a copy for the first one. I'm bad at my GitHub lingo. What is it when you first create it?
Clone?
Clone. We cloned it down there. So if there's an update, we could do the update. That way, if anything changes on GitHub, we can keep the scripts up to date with just a quick, I'm going to say update, but that's probably not right. All right, so we'll keep using CrocUbot, and we're going to do user last logged on. I believe this one is using your event viewer. So if you don't keep a long history, it may wipe out. There's also the one we talked about yesterday when we were doing regex.
Oh, yeah, that was last week.
Yeah, last week. What was the... I can't even remember the name of the
Q
tool.
user. We were running Q user.
Q user, where we go through and clean that up, and that will give you, like if you're in a lab environment, everyone that's logged into that one. But PowerShell... Apparently no one's logged into CrocUbot. Either that or the event has wiped out.
And you might check Allen Rails. I do log into Allen Rails a lot.
Oh, no, it's all right. I'll give that one a quick scan. Yeah, so, and this was just, it does kind of showcase if you're logging, especially for the log that captures that, clears out rather often. You're not going to necessarily capture everything. QUser would be a bit more accurate at that, but you do have to modify that data because it just returns wall of text instead of an object.
And for the second part of the question, you cannot display PowerShell Scanner results as columns.
No, not as columns. So what you have to do is you could have a report or some sort of collection. Seems kind of weird for that case, but you could have a report that will let you know who logged into what machines. If you have machines in particular you're worried about, you can fine tune those. But you can see last logged on 6 days ago, or the 31 days in the last month, 7 days ago, some time ago.
Maths.
Some time ago. They logged in. All right. Do we have another question? Yep.
Hey Jordan, PDQ has exclusively been mine here at work due to licensing, and it resides on a server that I log into with my admin account. Are there any gotchas or conversions needed to allow a coworker with a soon-to-be-purchased second license to access my deployments and create new ones? Thanks, J. Percival.
Well, to access your deployments, if they're logging into the same machine, I believe if you're going to a server, there is a hidden folder where you could put your things, but anything that's not that hidden folder, they're going to be able to see.
I'm just going to jump in here. You need to put that in central server mode. There's a video out there. It's about 3 minutes long on how to do it. And then you install the client on your machine and your coworker's machine, and you can both work on it. Like Jordan was saying, any of the stuff that you build specifically will need to be moved from your private folder out for your colleague to use. So that's a great way to do it.
But anything you put out there, he will also be able to edit. We don't have
That is true.
and I guess for that one, if it's running into permissions issues, if you have if everything scans or deploys with a particular account instead of your own credentials, you can both use that to scan. You just need to have their credentials added as available to access the application.
A console user, yeah.
Yep.
Dear Jordan, I have recently taken over the duties of PDQ for my company and am really enjoying the products. My question, is there a way to scan computers to find out if the local admin account is enabled and active on machines in the environment? Thanks, Sandy J.
Yes, Andy. Well, first of all, congratulations. That is awesome. You got to take over PDQ. I wish I had been able to do that before being here. I believe I can't remember which field.
We've got a video on how to build a report to see who's got local admin rights on machines, and then you can go see which credentials have those.
But if they're looking for just the local admin group or user, we have, by default from scan, local groups, local users, that you can go through and you can see like local users. If you're looking for the default administrator, that is disabled. It is actually tied to the administrator group, which is not. So by default, if you do the initial scan, between those two, local groups, local users, you should be able to see the information you're looking for. All right. Thanks for tuning in. WMI is awesome. I think you can do a lot of information. You can grab all kinds of information. I struggled to find things that we don't grab by default with our product, but that's just me loving our product. But you can always take it to the next level with PowerShell. That way you're not just grabbing data, but you can convert the data to be exactly how you want it to be without a lot of hassle. For PDQ.com, I'm Jordan.
Thanks for joining our webcast today. Congratulations, Sandy J. and Andrew S., winners of PDQ swag. Send us your info at webcast@pdq.com. Thanks again for joining us. Stay safe, and we'll see you back here next week.